In the heart of the dancehall world, where rhythm meets rebellion and lyrics often mirror the streets, few stories are as gripping as that of Qwella. A name once whispered in fear, now spoken with admiration. Today, we trace how this once notorious figure, marked by a dark past, carved out an entirely new identity, one driven by music, purpose, and redemption. Before his name rang out in clubs and stage shows, Qwella was known in very different circles. He walked a path many wouldn't dare tread, one riddled with crime, confrontation, and survival. His reputation wasn't built off music in those days, but off the kinds of actions that etched fear into communities. He wasn't just a name, he was a warning. It's widely acknowledged that Qwella had taken lives. He wasn't shy about it. In fact, he admitted in the past that he had analyzed two people, a coded way of speaking about lethal encounters. This wasn't just idle talk. These were real events that followed him like shadows. At one point, it seemed his life would be locked forever in that world. He was in and out of jail, a revolving door of confinement that mirrored the chaos within. The system became a second home. The streets were his playground and battlefield. Around him, bad company thrived, the kind that fueled ego, encouraged bloodshed, and left little room for dreams. But even in that whirlwind of destruction, there was something lingering in Qwella's soul. A different voice, a different rhythm, music. Somehow, through all the smoke and sirens, music never completely let go of him. And just as importantly, he never fully let go of it. There was one constant thread throughout Qwella's stormy life, the quiet yet steady presence of dancehall producer Dane Ray. Unlike others who saw Qwella as just another criminal, Dane Ray saw depth. He saw talent wrapped in trauma, potential buried beneath pain, and he didn't walk away. The relationship between Qwella and Dane Ray was unconventional, but powerful. From early days, they had shared ideas, freestyle moments, and raw recording sessions. Even when Qwella's life was spiraling, Dane Ray kept the door slightly open. He never forced the issue, but he kept the invitation on the table. If you want to change, the studio is here. And one day, Qwella took that offer. Maybe it was exhaustion. Maybe it was divine timing. Maybe it was the realization that death or prison were the only other destinations. Whatever the reason, Qwella finally stepped into that studio not as a thug looking for escape, but as a man searching for transformation. Once inside, something shifted. The same intensity he once used on the streets started pouring into his lyrics. His pain became verses. His regrets turned into hooks. His story, real, raw, and unfiltered, became his art. That first session wasn't perfect, but it was honest. And for the first time in a long time, Qwella felt seen for something other than violence. Dane Ray knew they were onto something, and so they kept building. What followed was nothing short of a rebirth. Qwella started spending more time in the studio than in the streets. He cut off toxic ties, he stayed away from triggers. Music became his therapy. His voice, once raised in war, was now raised in rhythm. The industry started noticing. His sound was different, gritty, authentic, unapologetic. There was no gimmick in his delivery, just truth. And fans connected with that. He wasn't pretending. He was preaching from lived experience. Around that time, Qwella linked with Jamal Dunce N Dawk, another artist with raw energy and street awareness. Their connection was natural. Together, they began crafting tracks that didn't just entertain, they told stories. Stories of struggle, survival, and salvation. That partnership helped expand Qwella's reach. Their music started catching fire not just in Jamaica, but across the Caribbean and into diasporic communities worldwide. Suddenly, the man who was once considered a menace was now a messenger. And the message was clear. Change is possible. One of the biggest milestones in Qwella's journey came just a few months ago when he was invited to perform in Barbados. That performance wasn't just about stage lights and applause. It was symbolic. A man who once couldn't even stay out of lockup was now crossing borders as an artist, representing his country in a new light. People back home were watching. Young men still caught up in the same traps Qwella once knew, saw him as proof that another life was possible. That inspiration, whether intentional or not, became one of his greatest contributions. Even with his rise, Qwella never denied his past. He speaks about it openly in interviews, not to glorify it, but to show contrast, to emphasize how far he's come, to remind fans and critics alike that while his past shaped him, it didn't have to define him. Still, the road hasn't been easy. Transformation isn't a switch, it's a process. Qwella's faced backlash, judgment, even threats. Some people prefer him in his old role, others doubt the sincerity of his change. But he keeps pushing forward. His music now covers everything from pain and perseverance to street realism and inner battles. Each song feels like a journal entry, gritty, personal, and deeply reflective. He doesn't hide behind hype, he tells it like it is. What makes Qwella's journey even more powerful is that he hasn't forgotten those who helped him get here. He consistently credits Dane Ray as the man who opened that first door. Without that belief, that studio, that beat, there might have been no Qwella the artist. He also continues to collaborate with Jamal, showing loyalty to the people who walked with him during his transition. In an industry where alliances are often fleeting, that loyalty speaks volumes. Beyond the studio and stage, Qwella's becoming a symbol, not just of dancehall excellence, but of human possibility, of redemption, of breaking generational cycles, of rewriting your story, no matter how deep the ink already is. The man who once disrupted communities now uplifts them. Through his music, through his story, and through his presence, he proves that even the darkest souls can find light if they're willing to walk toward it. And in Qwella's case, that light came from sound waves, speakers, and the relentless heartbeat of dancehall. So the next time you hear one of his tracks or see him on a flyer, remember, you're not just witnessing an artist, you're witnessing a miracle in motion.